You're listening to Transformational Thinkers with Sarah Sheehan, the global podcast where growth-minded CEOs and executive leaders get real-world strategies on business transformation, talent development, and mastering change management. Each episode brings actionable lessons, candid conversations with C-level innovators, and human capital strategies from around the world. If you're ready to scale, optimize your organization, and lead breakthrough change, you're in the right place. Let's unlock enterprise growth and success together. Hey friends, today on Transformational Thinkers, we're sitting down with Dilip Dubey to chat about what it really means to become an AI believer. If you've ever wondered how AI can actually transform your business without all the hype and confusion, this episode is packed with practical advice, real-world stories, and a dose of optimism for the future. Let's jump in. Welcome to the show, Dilip. I'm so glad to have you.
Well, thanks for having me. Just my pleasure to be here.
Outstanding. Dilip, before we dive into applications for AI, I'd love to hear from you in your view. What's the single biggest misconception leaders still have about AI today?
Sarah, I talk to probably 400 amazing, incredible leaders every year around the world. And one thing is common, which is very much related to many leaders who have been exposed to AI, thinking of AI as another disruptive technology that is available to them. AI is so much more than that. AI is technology that changes everything. And when you have that kind of change coming to humanity, to businesses, if you don't take advantage of it, or at least be able to tell your kids that, hey, I saw it coming and I did everything I could to take advantage of this opportunity, you miss out. And I see this all the time. And maybe as a bonus or attached to that is many CEOs and leaders feel AI is something that's going to happen in future. And, I always share the thoughts that I know companies who have already doubled their EBITDA in last 18 months. This is the past. Future will be even more. But if you wait too long, you may miss out on the great opportunity.
The time is now for certain.
Certainly.
When CEOs hear the term AI, it can feel abstract or overly technical. How do you personally define AI in a way that emphasizes business outcomes rather than algorithms?
So, Sarah, you're right. I mean, we all have gone to enough movies where when you think of AI, many of us still believe these are robots or humanoids or terminators walking around in workspace and doing things. Certainly, AI is not that. It's not that today, for sure. What it is really is leveraging all the intelligence to do whatever you do in business better, faster, cheaper, and do more. So I'll give you examples. So AI is a software application that you open up your laptop and use it to do something that you used to do before better. If you're a manufacturing company, if you're doing scheduling, you will do scheduling better. If you're a finance company and you were doing budgeting, you will do budgeting better. And in many cases, eliminate the need of actually doing that step whatsoever. So it's basically doing more, better, faster, cheaper is what AI is all about. And fundamentally, AI is nothing but software. And I know some people object to that because there's complexity is tremendous behind it. But end of the day, it is software that can allow you to do great things.
That's a wonderful definition. By the way, that's very practical and pragmatic. I can definitely get my hands around that. Looking at enterprises across industries, where do you see AI currently delivering the most measurable business value, and why those first?
Great question, Sarah. So obviously, there's difference between industries and their readiness to adopt and do great things using AI. I use a very simple framework or concept to say with AI, you can automate and you can innovate. So, automate is basically creating applications, solutions that you can leverage in your business to be us more efficient. You can save some cost, maybe eliminate some steps in the process. You can also automate how you grow your business. You can automate how you work with your suppliers. And there's tremendous opportunity in just automate side. And then many times that is the low hanging fruit. But on the other side, the real opportunity lies in innovate portion of AI, where you can innovate the way you service your customers. You can innovate your business models. In doing so, you can significantly increase the financial value of your company. So like I just shared, there's a company who has doubled their EBITDA leveraging AI in the mid-market, about $70 million company. And then there's another company that I know who have built a solution within their business using AI, and that solution is growing so fast that that is more valuable than their core company. So that's
That's
how
fascinating.
so its opportunities are tremendous in an AI world.
That's a great example. For leaders looking to balance innovation with pragmatism, what factors should determine where to place their first AI bets?
So I think AI is a little bit of a journey, right? You have to go from being AI aware, which most of us are now. We have seen, attended
Right.
enough meetings, to an AI believer. And then once you're an AI believer, you can go to becoming an AI advocate. And in this journey, where you have to start is you have to prove to yourself first as a leader that this can create tangible, hard dollar value for your organization. And to do so, I always recommend that you start with what I would call easy to implement and high hard dollar value projects. So, if you look at this as a just simple matrix, projects could be easy or hard to implement in an AI world.
Right.
They could create tons of hard dollar value, or they could create some hard dollar value, right? So if you find the
Right.
ones which are high value, low to implement, you do two of those. That's my recommendation. Just do two of those, because one may or may not work because you're learning, and show yourself the value. After that, the floodgates open, because then there's no limit to what you can use AI to improve your business with and go forward. So that's the approach we have recommended to all my friends and people who come to listen to my sessions.
That's
And then on the other
wonderful.
side, yes, yeah, and happy to share more.
That's fabulous guidance. And so, just to double click on that, I heard you say high value and low effort to start with.
Well summarized. On the low effort, I'll just add a qualifier to say low effort in terms of maybe complexity of AI, right?
Okay.
So, so for example, if you try to solve world hunger with AI, some people will contend you could. It will just take forever to get there, even though the return value is tremendous for humanity. Same thing for a business. So I'll give you a practical example. So if you're
Okay.
trying to solve a invoicing problem or a three-way match problem, or do all your financial analysis, FNA for your board and others, these are simple things, and it may not create tremendous amount of outcome, but you can prove to yourself that, hey, AI would work
This
for you.
works. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On the other side, if you're a manufacturing company and you are trying to solve scheduling, which is typically very challenging in a non-AI world,
Definitely.
you could actually show hard dollar value, improve customer satisfaction, speed changes, inventory reduction, so many hard dollar values, and it is not crazily difficult to implement. So those are two examples that one in functional side, one in hardcore business industry side.
That's very, very helpful. Some CEOs worry that AI can become a money pit without clear return on investment. What frameworks do you recommend to ensure investments in AI are tied to tangible outcomes like revenue growth, cost efficiency, or customer experience?
Fantastic questions. I see so many companies who do great things with AI, and I see equal amount of companies who turn these into what I call hobby projects, right? So any project which does not have a hard dollar ROI or outcome to it, it's really a hobby project.
Right.
And there's certainly a need for experimentation. There's certainly a need to learn and get comfortable, build some muscles. But those things need to be very short lived. I've seen companies go over 6 months, 9 months, 12 months saying, hey, we are learning. I think that's not learning. I think we're just being somewhat lazy here. So the way to look at, the way to look at it is the time frame for you to get ROI in an AI world is different.
Right.
So I would share two concepts. One is you should maybe not think in terms of return on investment. You should think in terms of return on business. And what I mean by that is if literally you can 2x your EBITDA in a business, this is no longer an AI project that you do to try things out. If that is the final goal and possibility, this is a very strategic initiative, and the ROI should be measured in terms of, hey, we are completely changing the business here. On the other side, when you do an AI project, typical standard ROI calculations need to throw them out of the window. Because on one side, you can do such crazy outcomes. On the other side, things may take longer than you think. You have to push through. I'll give you a real example.
Right.
So one AI project starts and the outcomes are at 45% confidence in terms of the intelligence it is providing in pricing the goods for the company, right? If you're less than 50% intelligent in pricing your product, I think that sounds like a crazy thing to continue to walk on that path, right? It's like half the time I'll be wrong.
Concerning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very concerning.
Right. So which business can survive by being half the time wrong on pricing, especially if it is on the lower end, and higher end, you'll just lose customers.
I don't know of one that would survive.
Certainly. So, but do you stop if that's what you get? And the answer is no, because in an AI world, there's learnings to be had. You can go from 40 to 60 to 90 to beyond 100%, which you'll sound awkward. Like, how can you be more than 100% accurate? Mm-hmm. The idea is AI can then do more than what you were doing just with systems and humans. So once this company took the journey, not only can they price in real time, they are able to redo negotiations with all their tough customers when they come for price reduction, because they know at SKU level what they should price at. Mm-hmm. But if you saw the 40% results and said, oh, this is it, this doesn't work for me, then you would lose the opportunity. So mm-hmm. AI ROI is very different than the regular ROI calculations, and leaders should keep that in mind.
And in that example, then what you would recommend that a client do is go through the process to see how they may change a prompt or change the way AI is employed in the process to see how the results change, I take it.
Certainly, Sarah. So I would look at information like rate of change of that confidence level. How quickly are you improving? Second thing I would look at it is like data is the fuel for AI. How good is your data? And make the AI data centric. And that this is one challenge that most companies face. They start building models, and not realize how good, bad, ugly their data is. And if you have those two things aligned, you probably will get to the outcome you want. But if it's really complex stuff, then you may also have to look at just some little bit of behind the scenes. How have you built the model? And is it the right model? Is it one model versus 10 models? Good news for all business leaders is you don't have to worry about it. AI is really good at AI. It will tell you where the problem lies. It'll probably go fix that problem if you allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm. It's stunning, the world of possibility that we're living in right now. It is just stunning. What is an example of a company that applied AI in a non-obvious way and achieved breakthrough results?
So it's just so many amazing leaders doing great things with AI. One of my really fun ones, and this is typically I would talk to leaders and they will come up with something, and I would have had some exposure to that somewhere in my learnings. But this one CEO owner, she came up with the thought of, hey, I want to close my books in 2 days and not 30 days. And leveraged AI to get that done within, I think, a 90-day project. And obviously, that sounds good. All of us as leaders would like to have great reporting quickly so we can do other things.
Sure.
But beyond the obvious things, the non-obvious value it created was they started rethinking, redoing the way their business operated. The decisions they made a month later, now they could preempt them. Their confidence and projections of their financials significantly improved because the closings were happening so quickly. So that I thought was a very interesting area, which I had not thought of. I thought of enough use cases in finance, but this was a very unique way to leverage it. Obviously, in the world of manufacturing, the customer I was just mentioning, or the company's customer, actually is now dependent on this manufacturing company and paying them more money to know what's happening in their plants. So not only were they able to negotiate better pricing, they are able to actually become very ingrained in customers' world. And now this is a Fortune 500 customer, multi-billion dollar global company. You would think they know everything using AI, but they don't know the area this company services them in. So just so happy to see these kinds of crazy value coming to the world.
The other point that you just shared that was very interesting is that I heard you say that they were able to charge more for the information.
So information still is power.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So when they were the customer was scheduling and figuring out what they needed from this company and few of the other players in the ecosystem, they had better data on what it take to get there. They had better data, more intelligent data than ERPs had at customers, certainly better than their peers in the ecosystem. And then suddenly they went from, hey, they're one little kind of piece in the system, to the center of the whole conversation for this new launch that customer was doing. And they saw an opportunity where they went from, hey, yeah, I want to be strategic, to, hey, I can charge for this. This is real value for the customer. And they did.
If every listener just thought about how they could use AI in a new way, the amount of innovation that could be unleashed would be remarkable, truly remarkable.
Yes. And I think it's worth spending a second and letting that sink in. It's like if every company was doing it, and hence going back to it's a technology that changes everything, right? So now, of course, early adopters will benefit more, and smart adopters will benefit even better, even more so.
Dilip, many leaders associate AI with automation, but you've also spoken about augmentation. How should executives think about AI as a capability that augments human intelligence rather than replaces it?
So, I think there's always both a little bit of fear, right, of AI replacing jobs, and it's real. We need to address it head on. But I'll give you a very great statistic that I always enjoy. If you look at since 1940, the number of jobs or job descriptions that still exist or that are new from 1940s, 63% of the jobs we have now did not exist in 1940. So fast forward you won't need 60 years or 80 years. You can just fast forward 5 or 7 years, and in an AI world, you will see the same. You'll have so many new jobs which don't even exist today that'll come into the playing field here. So that data alone should give us some comfort on, hey, most of these jobs will be humans augmented by AI, right? You need humans to govern AI. So AI governance humans, that role barely exists today. You would have humans teaching AI to make sure they're ethical. You will have humans being able to do so much more than they were able to do before and become almost, I would call, super business women or men, leverage. So all of these things augment, and I'll give you an example of, as humans, let's say we can process few hundred, few thousand variables as we are making decisions. AI can process in the same time billions of variables, right? So suddenly it has ability to do more compute, more crunching to get you the outcomes. But then if you apply the intuition on top of it, if you apply the human consciousness on top of it, you can now start doing things, making decisions that you didn't think they were possible. I was looking at a stat which was like, 70 to 80% of the work we do as humans during a day is just trying to get things to a place where decisions can be made.
Right.
All of that can be sped up and augmented, and suddenly we live in a new world. I'm actually very optimistic. I think all of us will have opportunities to do a lot more wealth will be created. Optimistic that us as a society will share that wealth, and everybody will level up because of AI.
Dilip, the pace of change that we are experiencing is definitely exponential at this point. And if CEOs and the C-suite leaders aren't really thinking about how they're going to ensure adoption and manage that change, they need to start thinking about it now. It's an absolute imperative.
Well said, Sarah. It's so there. On one side, the change is overwhelmingly fast, right? So what do you and I used to love this quote from Einstein, which said, "Hey," and I'm going to paraphrase that. Hey, more I know, more I realize how less I know. And in AI world, I add to it and I say, whatever I knew is already obsolete in 2 months. So it's not even less, it's like it's obsolete, getting obsolete very quickly. So in that world, on one hand, we as leaders need to adopt the soft side of it, which is absolutely attach this change and the pace of change and adoption to your culture and the goals of the business. And on the other hand, be very cautious that in the past, you could understand the change in the pace, you could learn things and adopt to it. That is not possible in an AI world. If you are not an AI business, the chances that, and if you're especially a mid-market business, the chances you can hire enough people who know enough things about enough things happening in AI to keep always up to date are low. So you have to frame that problem to saying, hey, I'm not going to know everything about AI, but I'll definitely know everything about my organization. I will adopt and then lean on partners, others, to make sure they are responsible to keep me up to date on it.
Dilip, if a CEO is sitting down with their leadership team tomorrow to discuss AI strategy, what's the first question they should be asking their CIO, CTO, or head of operations?
I think the statement has been said many times, and I'll repeat it. It's like, in future, companies with AI will certainly replace the companies without AI. So this is also a question of survival. It's also a question of achieving your potential as a business. So if I were sitting in that meeting, the question I would ask is, hey, what is the potential impact AI can have on us in next 3-5 years? It could be competitiveness, like, hey, in a competitive world, what would our world look like, our industry look like? On the other side, it could be financial. It's EBITDA. And I talked about doubling, tripling your profitability, increasing your revenue significantly. So those are the questions I would be asking.
And that goes back to our earlier conversation when you're really thinking about how you can 20x your business It really changes the game, definitely. What real-world pitfalls or unintended consequences have you seen when organizations rush to adopt AI?
A very interesting question. I'm trying to imagine in the meetings I've been in, the implementations I've been involved in, what has happened. One of the things I really feel happens that can be avoided is if if you jump in and you don't have the mandate and the support you need to do AI right, one slowed down project, one maybe unsuccessful AI project turns into organizations saying, well, I knew this. This was never going to work for us anyways. AI doesn't work. All of this is just fluff. So when people just cross that bridge so quickly from one data point to calling it a trend, that is the biggest risk that I see. Because AI is really, in my mind, not optional. To what extent you get involved, what sequence you take to leverage it, that's up to you as leader. But please don't allow one data point to turn into a generalization of value of AI for yourself.
I find that I'm using AI more every single day. And I find truly it's really about getting in and starting to experiment with it in tangible ways. Because once you do try, you dip your toe in the water, you start thinking about new creative ways that you could deliver something in less time or deliver something of higher value. The experimentation has tremendous, it's the door to opportunity.
I love the idea of experimentation. I believe to become an AI believer, you have to experience and experiment it. What I also find equally intriguing, Sarah, is a lot of time the tools that we use, ChatGPT, I use it every day, amazing tool, keeps getting better. But the seductive power of these tools is also something to watch out for, right? Which is, I can use a tool to do something great for me as a leader or a person or in my day-to-day life. Translating that to suddenly saying something great can happen in my business using ChatGPT, that's another bridge that we may have to be cautious about not crossing without putting some thought into it. And one way to look at it is ChatGPT is a tool. Businesses need solutions.
Correct. That is very good distinction. Yes,
Yeah.
businesses need solutions that work.
Correct. So even CEOs may be very good at ChatGPT, right? But to say, okay, I'm going to close my books in 2 days, I mean, relying on ChatGPT or even ChatGPT's business, OpenAI's business solution, that's risky. There's data, there's privacy issues, there is integration, there is your compliance issues. Just make sure it doesn't hallucinate. Accounting rules. There's so many things that need to happen. Exactly right. To be a workable, high value producing solution for you. So absolutely experiment, become a believer, but then you go to implement, give it slightly more thought.
I definitely agree. The human thought that's required to deduce and analyze and come up with real insight, really that's where you need a person involved, essentially as a liaison, looking at results that came back from a prompt that you're running on a regular basis so that you can figure out where there is a problem when you may not have even conceived there was one.
Absolutely. And I can maybe share an example here. I talked about doing scheduling in manufacturing world, right? So this organization, no AI experience previously, just went from there to AI believer and doing some amazing things today. So when they implemented scheduling, it was 80% accurate, and it continues to get better. A few months later, 94% accurate. A few months later, 7% accurate. And so the question I got was like, hey, the scheduler, she needs to do bigger things. That she's now engaging with customers, doing higher order discussions with customers. So can we move on now? Like in AI can do it pretty well, right? And my caution to them was, hey, you AI is not that good today that you can leave it without governance in a real business scenario. You absolutely must govern it because exceptions happen, businesses change. AI may or may not have that data available to adopt to it, may not be smart enough to adopt to it. So human governance makes sure that you don't take unnecessary risk. I mean, if you have 97% accuracy and you have automated that task to 50, 80, 90%, that's a win. Let's take that. Let's not try to get to 100% win and lose all of it, right?
Right.
So that is absolutely the human governance is critical in my mind to stay on the goal of value and not turn this into, hey, I'm solving some crazy AI problem.
Right. When you have the wonderful person that's smart and perceptive involved, they may be able to find one part of the process that's not working, where the software may not have figured out that step isn't working. But when they look at the detail around the results that are provided, they can figure out that something needs to be changed. Maybe it's a timing problem. The combination of the person and the powerful software is where you unlock tremendous potential.
100% agree. And there is a bonus here for business leaders. If you allow this to happen, your team members have now acquired an incremental skill that they're effective in an AI world. They will all slowly improve their compensation structures. They will produce more value for the organization and themselves. And they will be the early people in the world who would say, hey, I know how to work with AI in a business world. So you are also upskilling your team members. That changes motivation levels. So fear is real, but if you address it properly and you really have the compassion to support, grow, you will see the change. And in this example, the scheduler, she not only did great governing, to your point, she was actually able to see not only where the problems could come from, she was able to also say, what else can I do with it? Because she understands the domain and the context better than AI could ever. So now more and more things are happening because of her engagement with AI. So I think we are in violent agreement that using AI for augmenting your teams and your business is a fantastic strategy.
It definitely opens up opportunities that people may not have even dreamt of. How can leaders strike the balance between speed of implementation and responsible, ethical AI use?
So I may have a politically incorrect answer here to this question. It's like, I would say there's absolutely, in an AI world, you don't have to strike a balance, because you can do both. It's not an either or world, it's a both world. So because there's great progress made in an AI technology to ensure ethical AI, great progress made on the, making sure the bias that exists in the data doesn't show up in AI. Great work happening in many universities to ensure we have the right guardrails for AI to operate. So I would say we should leverage AI technologies to ensure the implementation is unbiased, ethical, and does what you need to do. But on the other side, speed is everything here. So if you can change your cost structure this quarter versus in 2027, you the competitiveness of your business is different. So speedy implementation is phenomenal, but I always recommend, please don't rush into the first two projects. When you're building muscles, don't go lift 200 pounds on day one. Do these two high value, low complexity projects, prove to yourself, and then it will democratize by itself. Like I told you about the scheduler, she's now thinking of 6 projects. CEOs don't have to think about every project. IT doesn't have to think about every project. IT is critical in this success, but this is a technology business users can use without learning it, right? You're just
Right.
talking to it. These are words. This is English language or whatever language you choose. So that's, I think, a good way to look at it.
We've all seen the headlines on bias, hallucination, and trust. What's your advice for CEOs who want to get ahead of these issues before they impact brand and reputation?
So this is a really fun question, and something I'm deeply both concerned about and passionate about. And my wife, who sits on the Harvard Women's Leadership Board, she and I have these as dinner conversations, right? Because we know there is bias in the world.
There
right?
is.
So, great example is banking data, right? If you build all the models, with original AI models were built on the banking data without taking out any bias. So banks are certainly biased, or were certainly biased towards giving loans to women. And they were also very biased about giving loans to people of color. Now, that was proven in lots of scientific studies. So for whatever reason, it's not, like many times it's not intentional. It is just you do what person before you did. You build out these rules and you keep doing it. So in an AI world, if you just took that data, which they did, now you're literally taking that bias, and then AI is rejecting more women and more people of color for loans, even though they have similar credit profiles. So this is the risk. This is real. This is happening today. But good news is that not only we have technologies that can help ensure that this bias doesn't show up, and these technologies are not 5 years from now, they already exist. We just have to embrace them. On the other side, these technologies actually give power back to us to take the bias out. So you can do
Definitely.
more, right? So we talk about augmentation.
Definitely.
It's not only we can balance the augmentation, we can balance it, we can augment it and leverage this technology to even more compassionate to all members of our society. So that's the thing I think all the leaders and CEOs should keep in mind as they build out their AI projects and solutions. Certainly, if it's customer facing, or even if it is your team facing, please check twice. Please have significant human governance. Accept AI for its word only after maybe a year, 2 years of governance to make sure there is no issue. Because you are right. Once you make that mistake, customers and team members are not very forgiving, and they shouldn't be, right? This is our job as leaders to ensure those things don't happen. Good news is these technologies are cheap. I mean, you're talking about a few $100s a month to do this. If you talked about this thing 2 years ago, it'll be you have to hire a consultant, and you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and still not be clear. But we're in a mature world. We can really take advantage of it.
That's very compelling. I think the human governance aspect can't be underestimated and would be consistent across anything involving integrity, ethics, and even getting into empathy and emotion.
So certainly. So I love this because talk about empathy. We have the power now where you can actually show as a leader, you can show to yourself, and I take gender equity as an example here, is are we hiring same candidate who is a woman for a similar kind of a role at lower salary structure, which is a known thing. It happens that, we know, and we can correct it. Like we are now empowered to correct it. We don't have to think and intuit. We actually have AI which can help us change it. So I always look at the positive side of it. Yes, there is a challenge. Yes, we need to solve it. But on the other side, it's also power to leverage to do better.
You can go find those instances through research and change that person's life today.
Imagine the impact on the culture of your company if your team members, your customers, your stakeholders know that you're committed and you're doing so leveraging newer technologies like AI.
People would rejoice in that situation. I mean,
Certainly.
when a boss makes a change that really is in the best interest of the person that they're working with and their business, great things come without question.
Certainly second that. So
AI adoption inevitably changes workforce dynamics. What can CEOs do to ensure that employees don't feel replaced, but instead see this as a tools for growth moment?
I think we covered some of that already, Sarah, but the question remains very important one in all our lives as professionals, as business leaders. So first thing is you can't hide from it. I see many organizations who say, I will implement AI, and then they also say the same, oh, nothing will happen to anybody in the company. I think everybody around us is smart enough to know something will happen. I mean, computers had a change, right? Internet had a change. So to say AI will be there and nothing will happen is not genuine. Now, positive part of that is that are you one of the team members who can take advantage of it and help the company be better? Can you be one of the individuals who can make yourself better in terms of comp, skill sets? And that is the opportunity against the fear of being replaced. And one critical messaging to be done with the larger team members is, hey, in all previous technologies, crypto, even software, coding, you needed to know how to code. You needed to know how to do databases to be successful with those technologies. AI is the first technology where all you need to know is English language. All you need to know is to ask better questions. And I ask this question to leaders all the time. If you had a problem with a function, finance, procurement, whatever, who do you think can ask better questions for that function to AI? Would it be IT? Or would be the person in procurement?
A functional expert.
100%. Mm-hmm. So now functional experts have the superpower to leverage AI without ever having to learn AI. And I know prompting is a big thing, and it's more you learn. It's basically what kind of the wisdom which has existed with us for ages. Hey, asking better questions makes a great leader or a great individual. Prompting is nothing but that, just slightly sophisticated and technical looking. If you ask better questions to AI, you will have better answers, and better answers can drive more value for the organization. So face it head on, allow your team members to upskill. Recent study that came from Goldman Sachs confirms that even though there will be impact on jobs, and that is real, that impact may be very short-lived because this equation of you don't have to learn a whole new crazy tech skill set to use it.
That is very true. If you were to make a bold prediction, what's the single biggest way AI will change business results in the next 5 years?
I mean, the obvious answers are highly efficient businesses who are able to do a lot more with AI. But the way I see in 5 years is just impact on business models. The things we do will no longer be needed to be done. And the things need to be done we haven't even thought of today. So businesses have to evolve to not become, and I say this with some caution, we are all taught in management practices, focus, like take one thing and do it well. That is still true in most cases, but in an AI world, lots of opportunities lie at intersection of things, at periphery of these things. So you have to be open to what is possibly coming, which may not be obvious to you, which may completely change your business. So the business that exists today, like we talked about job descriptions, the businesses of future will look very different. They'll be doing a lot of different things because automation will change the environment enough where some basic stuff that businesses do today will no longer be real businesses.
Wow, the pace of change, it really is remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. If our listeners could start experimenting with AI in just one area this quarter, where would you suggest they begin for maximum impact?
Philosophically, just wherever you start is okay, but try to cross the chasm to become an AI believer, which is get to a level where you inside feel, wow, this can have an impact. You can use ChatGPT to solve simple things like recruiting in your business, or writing your emails better, which most of us are already doing, or doing medical things. Like it's amazing. I use ChatGPT before I go to any of my doctors, and they both love and hate me because you're asking them stuff that they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And some of the things I'm asking, they're like, please, that's not relevant to you. That's just a smart thing to ask, but it doesn't matter. So, but allows you to become a believer. So as an individual, that's what I would say. As a business, I would say you need to pick 2 problem areas, which we talked about earlier, and leverage AI to solve it. Get your data in a good place, try these 2 problems, use AI to solve it. Take some help. You may not understand tools, but you may not have a solution. Find the right partner or platform to get you the other side and say thank you to the partner and then keep using the platform or the solution, and you can do it all in-house from that point forward. So just 2 cases here, and just become a believer as a person. I think you would be in great shape on January 1, 2026.
Thank you so much for your time today, Dilip. How can my listeners find you?
So they can reach me via my email, which is my first name, Dilip, DILIP, at Dubey, DUBEY.ai. Or just go to dubey.ai. I share ideas and thoughts on it. Or just follow me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest place for all of us to connect. Just Dilip Dubey. And I'd love to continue the conversation, share what I know. And I keep sharing like AI ROI we talked about. So I have a template, and it's all about sharing, learning together. And I'm happy to do that.
Well, Dilip, you are definitely a tip of the spear leader in the space. And so I very much value your time, and I know that our conversation will be well received. Thank you very much for your time today.
So thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed being here with you on the podcast.
The top 3 takeaways from today's episode include: start small, win big. Dilip recommends beginning your AI journey with high-value, low-complexity projects. Prove tangible ROI in 2 areas. This quick, pragmatic approach builds momentum and turns skeptics into believers. AI is software, and so much more. Instead of viewing AI as a distant, disruptive force, think of it as a tool to make everything you do better, faster, and cheaper. It's about augmenting your decision-making and not replicating it. Human governance is non-negotiable. Experimentation is critical, but don't forget the importance of human oversight. AI is powerful, but businesses need solutions, not just tools, to ensure responsible and ethical outcomes. Dilip's optimism about AI's potential is contagious, especially his belief that functional experts, not just IT, have the superpower to unlock AI for business transformation. In light of our discussion today, take action and set up a meeting with me to discuss your private cohort of Mastering Change Management. The scheduling link is in the show notes. As always, subscribe and never miss an episode.